welcome back. You're watching some Higurashi. I am scared for the future about what exactly is going on. We've seen the present, the past, and what may be an eventuality for the village. Of course, with each rerun, we get a little closer to the truth about what might actually be going on, but I feel like I'm still missing a lot. So with that in mind, I wonder what's going on now. Are we going to get a continuation of the last episode, or is that little bit now concluded with the death of the wife of the new investigator dude, and how it's now become known that Rika could tell the future, at least the fates of quite a few people? What exactly is taking a stranglehold of this village? Is it a curse? Is it a mass delusion? Is it something greater? We'll have to find out. So strap in, get a drink, and let's begin. Oh no, here we go again. Another Shion-Mion disaster, this time with the head of the family being tied up as well. Eye-opening chapter. I hope it's not too literal, because I have a thing with eyes. Hopefully it does mean that there's going to be a lot that comes to light, because I need some explanation for certain things. And sometimes during the beginnings we get these little moments which could spell at least a little towards how it goes at the end, but they were strangely absent from the last one. But I do wonder, at what point is there going to be any kind of lasting change? If we now were made aware that Rika knows what's going on and reached out for help before it all started going down, but it didn't exactly do much, is there going to be that moment of turn that we get to be privy to? And who's going to be the catalyst? Okay. Another good day's work. Get in the car. But what was she just doing there? Why was she needing to leap walls and the like? Yeah, we learned that much. She was separated off. Does she hold some sort of animosity for me on staying there, or? One is sent off. Oh, great. Well, that's nice. And yet she survived. Is it said that they're killed off before the first bath, but yet times change? There's some that couldn't handle it. Well, at least she's got a healthy appetite. We've seen that she's got... Oh, she had a job as such, and quite the entourage of people around to help. Yes. Good to hear your voice again. Sneak out of school. So that was what the leap over the fence was. Nothing more devious other than just trying to escape, I'm guessing, a boarding school. Well, they're quite alike, aren't they? They'd be able to get along fairly well. That's what. Okay. Having to hide your identity and just like, yep, and pretend to be someone else makes alibis a little easy, though, doesn't it? And what was the reason for the decisions of shoving her away there when there are others that seem to be relatively open to the fact that she exists? Nothing has changed. I'd say there's a few bits and pieces. Although, when it comes to Higurashi, the more things change, the more they stay the same. That was added quotation mark, just, it has to be the curse, interjected strongly in that sentence. The more. Was it a swamp last time I heard this story? It might have been. But with every year, consistently, there's a strange disease falling off a cliff. Also, if they want to be somewhat undercover, maybe not be so obvious about it. But who, much like was brought up in the last one with Rika saying it, who decides? There we get the. Huh. So, trying to quell the mob by throwing someone or people under the bus. Was it all for like the greater good to try and stop the bigger uprising? But there's not much that can quell anger when people get into a voracious collective. They seem to lose all sorts of reasoning. As we've seen many, many times throughout history. What was those fingers just now? They were very sharp. And if Shion is the kind of the black sheep of the family and whatnot, has there been a moment during all the time where they swap and Shion can experience what Mion does on a daily basis without being hated by the head and whatnot? Surprising. she is constantly on the run, trying to separate herself away from the family head, and it must be quite an exhausting existence. But what can turn this a happy sibling relationship on its head? All the bags in one trip. Gotta do it proper. Yes, it was the bike's fault. That's a rather slow chain of dominoes there. Run. They have the same brain cells as the bikes. Interesting hairstyle. If going for a delinquent bike rider is a thing, then sure. Was that her about to call for backup there? Huh. Is that the missing brother? The blonde hair is somewhat of a giveaway. And unfortunately, meeting Satoshi as Mion there, kind of like how the switcheroo was pulled later on. But spacey. Because is it in this storyline that the same is going on with the uncle and whatnot? Actually looking into it, and as a somewhat outsider to the goings on. Huh. Hadn't seen it on that angle, but if the uncle was just pushing on the treatment that he got from the village because of his brother and sister-in-law, or whatever way around it was. Not excusable at all for their actions towards the kids, but still. How did they miss that? It was rolling across the ground. And now seeing him be the White Knight, protecting her from the bike gang. Fairly decent at the sports. Family matters. Are we going to see anything what actually happened to Satoshi, why he disappeared? If it is true that he was the one that done in the aunt, what happened to him? And out. He's got some stuff going on, but also following Shion now, trying to get closer to Satoshi. What's that line of questioning for? So we're learning more. He's got some sort of job, part-time job thing there. And also, oh my god. I don't think... Have you been paying attention to the stories that have been told to you? Sure, we have a little bit more information about what's going on behind the scenes, thanks to previous iterations, but... The things of like, oh, the aunt is treating Satoko worse, so he's trying to make up for it. That's not going to help her way of thinking just now, whereas Satoko was at fault for his troubles. Ah. The footsteps of one's past. Well, this conversation took a turn for the worst. They had some dead eyes. Huh. And is there actually someone that is always looking, always there, ever present, throughout all the stories? Am I going to have to look closely into the background? Is it literal? Ah, the sleep paralysis demons at it again. I mean, considering that she is a great advocate for the curse's existence, the fact that she's going on this tirade of how he's fallen under the spell of the curse. I don't think this is a good idea. So yeah, yesterday was a very bad day for them. So they're a little out of it and down today. I don't think even a smile is really going to help. Was today all the best days for her to stand in for her sister? First off, how do you manage to drop it like that? And second, was she holding her hands? Because can't she use her hands properly? Or, well, she is very dependent on him. Great. Really compounding the issue even further. This is going to make Mion look really good in front of Satoshi, isn't it? And is anyone going to step in here? Sure, she's one of the oldest in the class, but Jesus. You'd think there's someone that at least stops something. Oh, Christ. Speak your mind, why don't you? Oh no, someone that I've known for all of a week is doing hard. Their relatives should die. Throw a chair at them? Seriously? We know that sometimes they go a little overboard, but Christ almighty. They're spoiled. Yeah, you've done well of gaining his favour there. Granted, she doesn't exactly have to suffer the follow-up with this, since it's Mion that is in trouble. Why do we always have to be bullied? Maybe actually listening to the stories rather than just hearing the parts that you want to hear. Now she's made it difficult for her. Can't exactly smooth it over easily. Well, maybe because he just wants to help someone in trouble, no matter their standing or their family. However, when they're acting like a... I'm going to retract some words that I was going to say. His kindness might have dissipated a little. Having what seems to be unmotivated assault happening to his sister, you can see why he'd be a little taken aback by it and maybe throw an accusation of the family. This is how you do things, isn't it? Considering that's what he's experienced in the past. But also, we had current day stuff we had previous long before all the events of the curse and the cotton drifting festival. Now we're getting a few years before when Satoshi was still around. So, yes, knowing that Shio and Mion swapped places a few times, at least in school, early on, I think after this little stunt, it would be foolish of Mion to let Shion sit in for her anytime soon, at least. Unless assaulting people with books is normal for them. But yeah, seeing a very one-sided story without the actual party involved being able to stand up for themselves or even say their side, do you really want to jump into the middle? Having a story now where you got some infatuation thanks to being saved, but exactly 4 seconds into getting to know the person, completely ruining things. You know, this is kind of how stalkers are built, isn't it? You know, going around and hearing people say, yeah, he's got a lot on his shoulders, especially having to take care of his sister and everything that's going on. You wouldn't then go, so it's his sister's fault. I mean, there was a few bits and pieces and information thrown in the story, especially, I think, from the Doctor, which made it seem as though they're going through a lot together. It's this kind of jumping to solutions that I just don't understand sometimes. He's suffering, I'll get rid of the sister. That will solve everything. How? Even if he himself said, yeah, it's a bit tiring, I wish I didn't have to do it, even if it is sinful of me to say so. Also, with the story, under the bus stop, the curse looks over you while you sleep, judges your sins. Is there anything to that, or does she just not lock her doors at night when there's a potentially bigger issue at play? But one thing with Higurashi is that it does flip between the whole power struggle of the families, this rampant curse, which seems to be tied to the cotton drifting festival, and whatnot. And sometimes they're separate. Now it's being joined in a tale, while also being something somewhat grounded in just family disputes and abuse, which we can somewhat follow. One of the tough things is that we know it's not going to get much better, and it's going to continue for several years. Unless, of course, somehow this timeline changes. I don't believe it will, but somehow. But considering how Shion's big jump to how to deal with things is to change the behaviour or attitudes of certain people, if she lashed out at Satoko like that, if the very, very beginning little intro bit was to be believed, actually it'd be that way, wouldn't it? Because it's reversed on the recording. The Head and Mion need to be re-educated. Granted, the Sonozaki family can hold some of the blame towards exactly... Well, they're not really well adjusted, are they? Seeing the twins and Shion and Mion are definitely treated differently. Although, you have to admit, at least she wasn't at birth. Or maybe she was, and just even that couldn't stop her. I don't know what we're going to get out of this story. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit more of a revelation and kind of understanding what might have gone on behind the scenes. But past that, we've seen both Shion and Mion later on down the line. So unless this really, really deviates, and there isn't a set path for certain characters and their outcomes, at least up until the current cotton drifting that we're following. But not Akechi. Satoshi being the hero that everyone needs, jumping into the fray when he's seriously outmatched. But as we were told before, as Keiichi was following in his footsteps, are we going to see that side of it now? We're going to see the fall of Satoshi and ultimately what led to his disappearance. I'm in equal amounts horrified, afraid, and excited to see where this might actually lead. Higurashi isn't a story isn't a show that I can praise some amazing visuals, although some of the cinematography work isn't too bad. A little cliche maybe and outdated, but still. But it has story and atmosphere in spades. And I want to see more. Hopefully you do as well. And I was trying to think, but no, I do actually know a set of twins. I don't believe there are any stories about a downfall of the world or the village surrounding them when they were born. Then again, culture and history doesn't exactly deride twins being born, I think. Still, if you enjoyed Higurashi, let me know. Leave a like and a comment down below if that is the case. Maybe even subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes. And considering how fast and painful some episodes are, you don't want to miss them. But for now, give yourselves a bit of rest, so I can see you in the next one.